The Killing Sea, Chapter 20. The groans of the wounded and the coughs of the sick filled the clinic tent. A mother stood by a cot, using a piece of cardboard to fan her small daughter's face. The girl's chest rose and fell with her struggling breaths. She was half-conscious and hadn't been able to eat the rice gruel her mother had tried to feed her. The male nurse had just made the rounds of the food. Peter refused his bowl as well, turning his head away. "You have to eat, okay?" Sarah kept bugging him until he swallowed a third. The rest she finished. Tasteless, but at least it quieted her growling stomach. The female nurse made rounds after the meal, handing out a cup of water and medicine from a bottle. When she got to Sarah, she carefully broke a white round pill, handing Sarah half. Sarah peered at the label of the bottle. "Aspirin?" she said. "Half an aspirin? That's all my brother's getting? He needs antibiotics, for God's sake." The nurse shrugged. Not a callous shrug, just a very tired one. But Sarah jumped to her feet and thrust her face at the nurse. "Where's the doctor? I want to see the doctor." "Nanti," the nurse said, and pushed by her. "And you don't give aspirin to children," Sarah shouted after her. "Everybody knows that." She slumped down by Peter's side. Surfcat lifted his head and sniffed half the pill in her hand. "What do you think, Surfcat?" she asked. "Is it okay to give Peter half an aspirin?" Surfcat stretched luxuriously before slipping through a broken seam in the tent. "Nanti," the nurse had said, another local word that Sarah happened to know. Her father, studying an Indonesian phrase book, had made a comment about it. "Nanti means later," he had said. In the Indonesian culture, it has the same meaning as the Spanish mañana, but without quite the same sense of urgency. Sarah sniffed the cup of water. It smelled like wood smoke, boiled. What harm could half an aspirin do to Peter? He wasn't a baby. It would help his temperature at least. Might have a problem swallowing it, though. Sarah crushed the pill into powder, which she dissolved in the water before waking him, holding him up with an arm around his shoulder. He groggily took a sip and then said, "I was dreaming about Mom." "That's nice," Sarah said. "Another sip, please. It's your medicine." "Remember when she had Mr. Chori over for dinner, and a lot of neighbors didn't come, and he played weird music of his, and he taught Mom how to dance to it? Peter, finish drinking this, will you?" He swallowed the rest of it and laid back down. "I dreamed she was dancing and dancing." Sarah remembered that night. She knew more of the story than Peter. Mr. Chori was an immigrant. There were ugly rumors about him that made her parents angry. Her mother threw a party for him and invited all the people who were talking about him behind his back. Only a few came, but her mother and father had had a grand old time dancing to that strange music. Her mother had insisted that Sarah have a try, but she'd refused. Another, more recent memory came to her, one she had tried her best never to think about. Early last summer, as she looked in the master bedroom closet for her mother's new black pumps to try on, she had found a box full of old diaries. She picked one out at random, the journal her mother had kept the year she was born, and opened it. Her mother's curly handwriting was branded into her memory. "My resentment of this child within me borders on hate. I don't want to have it. I don't love it and won't love it when it's born." She had slammed the diary shut and shoved it back into its place, but it had been too late. Maybe this was why she couldn't feel a thing for her own dead mother. Maybe the poison of what she wasn't supposed to know was turning her into an unfeeling monster. "Hello?" She startled at the voice. A man wearing glasses that magnified his weary, drooping eyes. He peered at the nurse's notepad. Sarah stood with expectant hope. "You're the doctor?" He nodded. "Dr. Azrael." He crouched by Peter's side and felt his forehead, then took his pulse and tapped his scrawny chest. Pressing one end of a cardboard tube to Peter's chest, he cocked his head and listened at the other end. Shouldn't you use a stethoscope?" Sarah asked uncertainly. "No stethoscope. Hospital gone. Much destroyed." He gave her a tired but still friendly smile. "We use emergency technology." He asked Sarah what had happened, and Sarah explained about the tsunami and how Peter had swallowed water. "Yes, it is common," Dr. Azrael said, gesturing to several of the other coughing patients. "But you have medicine for him, right? Antibiotics and stuff to make him better?" Dr. Azrael sighed and stood. "No medicine. All gone. But we can pray, yes?" Before Sarah could think of words to say, the woman tending to her daughter began a crescendo of wailing. The girl lay still and quiet, no longer struggling to breathe.